Aubrey just started driving this year. Supposedly she's pretty good at it. Don't get too confident. Don't get too confident, Aubrey. Those are killing machines. Adam V23 in the stream. Great to see you. Are you in this one, Adam V? Let me take a look. I'm going to look at the... who do we got? Yep, Adam Vogel right there in 4th place, 12,378. Let's make a final table together, you guys. We can do this. We also have Caster in the stream. That three betting bull, man. All this morning I was thinking, and I woke up. I had nightmares of just Caster three betting me. I was in the shower thinking, what am I gonna do when I play with Caster tonight? And he ends up on my left and just keeps on three betting me. What am I gonna do? I don't know. I don't know what the defense is there. I mean, here he is exploiting the exploiter, knowing that our VPIP is wide open in certain spots, and knowing that it's going to be really uncomfortable for us to be just call and play out of position, check folding to a C bet if we don't connect. Most of the time we don't connect. So maybe 4-betting. How big of a how much of our range do we need to 4-bet against a Caster 3-bet? I don't know. I feel like we leveled ourselves a little bit in that $200 main event. You and me leveled ourselves in that $200 main event yesterday by deciding that a 4-bet didn't mean a big hand. And usually a 4-bet, does mean a big hand. I don't think it means much when it's coming from a player like Caster, though. So what are we going to do tonight, guys? I don't know. I struggled with it. It kept me up. I was still thinking about it this morning. I was thinking about it in the shower. I was thinking about it when I was working out. I have no idea how we're going to handle it. Okay, Jack 9 suited. It's going to happen. We're going to be playing with that guy a lot. What percentage of our hands do we need to just start 4-betting when he starts 3-betting us? I don't know. Poker Mindset Coach, he says, I was having my best day in a long time. Won a sit and go. And then I was in a 1,500 guaranteed on another site. They paid to 72nd. Hold that thought. We got FPS Jeremy, who just clicked on that sub button. Jeremy, I gotta tell you, man, I really appreciate it, dude. FPS Jeremy is from my hometown of Columbia, Missouri. Plays some poker with some of our mutual friends out there, Rodney Butler and a couple of those other Tigers. We also have Chairman Elite chilling out in the stream and clicking on the sub button. You guys are great. Starting out the stream just awesome. 3 subs already. It's great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for supporting the stream. And guys, all of our subs are going to get a digital version of my book, Poker Tilt, sent over to you. I'm going to get that done after the stream tonight. We're giving Eximois the week off. She's up in Seattle visiting family. So guys, after the stream's done, I'll go through the records. I'll make sure that you guys all get that digital version of Poker Tilt. You guys are so awesome. Thank you so much for supporting the stream. Chairman Elite, FPS Jeremy, we got a Tie-Dye Panda. You guys are awesome. So let me get back to that thought that we were thinking together with Poker Mindset Coach. It says, won a sit and go, and then I was in a 1,500 guaranteed at another site. They paid to 72nd. With 30 people left, the tournament crashed. They averaged the payout for all places left, and I made final table money. First cash this month. My play was so Dutch that I was amazed. So again, thank you, Poker Mindset Coach. Of course, I'm really glad that you had a good day at the tables. I definitely wish all of you guys the best of luck on your poker journey at the Felt. And anytime someone comes along and says, you know what, I learned a lot from your stream, I feel like my game has gotten better. I'll take a little bit of credit, but let's also just point out that the fact that you are here thinking about your game, working on your game, trying new things, and trying to incorporate some of the things that you see on these streams and other people's streams, and into your own game plan. Poker's a game of skill, guys. You can get better every day, and you should constantly try to get better and break through any sort of wall that you find yourself in. Are you in a wall? If you're going against a wall, try to break through it. Try to think about maybe things that you're missing. What are we missing? Well, we're missing a good game plan when we get 3-bet with by a bull. That's what we're missing, and we're gonna have to think about that tonight. I also want to, I also feel like I need to play around a little bit more with some of those ICM analyzers. I think it was Richie Gree who sent me an ICMizer week subscription key, and I'm gonna play around with it. I'm gonna actually put in, pop in what we had on the other stream, because the more I thought about it, the more I thought maybe that king queen offsuit shove was wrong. We talked about it on the stream. The guy had 3 big blinds in the big blind. We had 8. Chances are we're going to be able to go ahead and secure another $300 just by folding the hand. But if we fold that hand, then we're going to have to fade the big blind and the small blind. And then we're going to be down to 6 bigs. 5-handed. So I don't really know. I think it's going to be one of those problems that we pop into like an ICM analyzer. Poker Tracker 4 I think has one. I don't know. More mathematical minds than mine have thought about that very problem before, and have thought of the way to to figure it out. Man, dropping frames again, guys. 780 frames dropped. It's June's fault, guys. June's fault. Are other streams having issues with dropped frames and seizing up, you guys, or is it just mine? I might have to switch from XSplit to OBS. Maybe it is a problem with the software we're using to stream. Siren 2 in the stream. Niles, he's saying it's just you, man. I've been watching streams all day for the past few days. 80% of my time on the PC. Man. Yeah, because we've been dropping a lot of streams, you guys, and it's getting pretty irritating. We are gonna take over the board. We got Jay Newmeyer clicking on that, keeping that resub going, sticking it with us for 2 months in a row. Thank you very much, man. Jay Newmeyer, really appreciate you being here and supporting the stream. Thanks so much for sticking with us. Gargar limping, W Magic limping, Turn the Nuts limping. I guess we're gonna just check and see a very cheap flop here. We are gonna take over the Bankroll. And Gold 34 Ice, 5 months in a row. One of our oldest hats here. Gold 34 Ice, man. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you very much for being such a positive member of the stream. Such an awesome part of the crew, man. Gold 34 Ice, you've been with us since almost the very beginning. So thank you very much for sticking with us. G-Heeb also won a tournament today, but didn't want to brag. G-Heeb, if you can't brag to us, who are you going to brag to? Who are you going to brag to? You can brag to your non-playing poker friends who aren't going to care. Congratulations, nice job, and nice job, man. G-Heeb, how much was it? What did you take down? I Reap the Game saying, just about to start Chapter 12 of Poker Tilt. Love it so far. We'll definitely be buying the next one. I Reap the Game, thank you so much. The next one's going to be a little different. The next one's going to be a strategy book, not so much a bio book. Matty Matt 316 saying, it's happening to everyone, not just Dutch. Niles's like, I'm afraid it isn't. No, that's not true. I believe you, Niles. I think that we are having more problems than most other streamers, and I don't know why. Guys, let's go ahead and make the call. I think that there's an update on XSplit that I've kind of put off updating, so maybe that's it. Maybe if I just update XSplit, that's going to solve the problem. I'm going to make it my mission this week. I've got a couple of things to do this week. Putting that patch order in, getting the Hog Wild Poker League going, and figuring out the dropped frames mystery. So making the fold here, not really anywhere to go. We can catch an 8. Basher253 saying perhaps play with the ICM program on stream. Would love to see that. I think that's a good suggestion, Basher. Yeah, Nazi, I think that you're right. I don't think it's a Twitch issue either. I think it's either a problem with my own internet service provider of Cox, or I think that maybe it's a problem with the streaming software we're using. Not happy about it. Wow. Gargar limps in. Look at this family pot. Just everybody. Let's pot it up. Okay, we got kind of an interesting thing going on here. Seems like a little 3x here. Did our pot bet work? No. Can't say it didn't. Instead, Gargar made the call, and God and me making the call as well. Everyone else getting out of the way. We're left with pretty much nothing. 9 high. We can hit a 7 for a straight. Are we calling? Of course not. We're just done with the hand. Savage Medic saying I've scratched 100 into 600 several times in a few hours off work. Sometimes you gotta get dirty to make a buck. Sometimes you gotta get dirty to make a buck. That is true. The Poop 34 asking, is that David Skolansky on our left? Is that him? Legum? 3-time World Series of Poker bracelet winner, David Skolansky? Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed it is. That is the David Skolansky right there. 3Bet Nuts saying quality of stream is pretty amazing over here. All's good even though you're dropping frames. Okay, so we haven't dropped frames in a little while now, but it seems like we've been dropping some about every 40 minutes. It's getting pretty frustrating. Hardy1, good to see you, saying Exmo hacked the stream, didn't she? She's watching the stream. Crybaby Nuts saying, not just you, Dutch, but yours is bad relative to others. Okay. 10-2 off, we'll make the fold. So Matty Matt 316, we don't have Comcast. We've got Cox. Paid for like as quick as I could get it through Cox. Comcast is actually laying fiber in Vegas, from what I hear, but they don't have it in our area yet. Okay, guys, that is our first hour on the virtual felt. Play will resume in 4 minutes, and we will be right back. I'm going to go ahead and just take a second, walk around, get a little bit of water. TV T-Vec Electric 1 saying, have another 1K win tonight. I'm going to try, man. I'm going to try. It's always nice when you wake up, you sit down at your online poker site, you win a grand. That's always a good day. A grand don't come for free. So let's see if we can do it. We got Crunchtooth saying you should use OBS, better than XSplit and free. Crunchtooth, I've been meaning to make the switch. The only reason we didn't is when we first started Twitch, we had a free 3 months that we got through a Humble Bundle for XSplit. And I was like, well, if you actually have to spend money on XSplit, then it has to be better, right? It has to be better. Why would I think that? Why would I think that a commercial software has to be better than open source software that's being developed and furthered by a lot more people who are actually invested in the software actually working well, rather than trying to sell the software to people who are invested in it working well? I don't know why. And I just got everything kind of set up with XSplit. There's no reason why we are using XSplit instead of OBS, and I think that I've got to use OBS. It seems like there's a lot of things that you can do with OBS too that I would like to be able to do. Some pretty cool plugins. Tim Flynn agreeing, OBS is the way to go. Mythin was like, XSplit was always a big resource hog. OBS seems to be much lighter weight and more stable. I'd make the switch. Mythin, we're going to make the switch. We're going to make the switch. Lay That Pipe says, my man Dutch, just saw your 2006 interview after you won your bracelets versus Joe Hatcham. Hilarious interview, man. You really do wear your heart on your sleeve. Not sure which one that was. If it was the Bluff Party, that was a good time. That was a good time. That was the night I met Jeff Madsen for the first time. Poker Mindset Coach, Dutch, do you know any other people streaming from Las Vegas right now? I don't know. I'd have to look at the channel list. If anyone's streaming from Las Vegas right now, chances are I know them. Niles is saying, what we used to do before our charity streams at Christmas was to start a shitty setup stream and run it for an hour or so. So, like, you could set up a random Twitch account and stream using that, tweaking your bitrate, testing your software. That way it won't alert subs, and you can do it privately in your own time. That's a pretty good idea, Nilesy. Persuade by Asking says, they're used to good money on HWP. We're talking about Hog Wild Poker. Sladgy saying, what's up, Dutch? Another final table tonight. Let's go. Let's do it. Guys, we're going to be right back in 1 minute, 3 seconds. Okay, and we're back. 6,705 in this one. Our $20, our $10 2K guarantee. We got the add-on. We lost a little bit from our initial buy-in, so we're in for one rebuy, one add-on on this one. The add-on period hasn't hit for our 30. Until it does, we're going to be probably playing pretty snug. Scotty Magic 86, good to see you. Says, been watching your stream and following you for a couple of weeks now. Been placing and winning in local live tournaments this year, over 7 grand in winnings, and I feel that my game is vastly improved. What do you recommend I do to take my game to the next level, including professional level events? So, Scotty Magic 86, first off, I just want to say thank you for being here. The next level. What's the next level from winning, and you know, from being a plus EV player and winning in your local tournaments? What's the next level after that? I guess the next level would be taking a couple of trips to some of the some of the tournament circuits that come around your area, right? And what would you want to do to prepare for that? Well, you're doing it. You're doing it, man. Let's make the raise. A king 10-5. What do we think, guys? Are we just going to auto put him on ace king here? This is not what we wanted to see with pocket queens. We're really only beating one hand, you guys. One single hand, and that's pocket jacks. I don't think that Gargar is going to be beat by pocket queens on an ace king 10 board when Gargar made that 3-bet. We don't really have any notes to suggest that Gargar's 3-betting light. Called our 4-bet, called our half pot size bet on a king high flop, and now putting it all in. I think that we just make the fold and save ourselves the 2600. Click on that rebuy right away, get back up to 65.65. And Hardy One asking what our CPU setup is. What am I running? What graphics card am I running? I have to go look. I think that we're running 8 megs of RAM, and I think that I've got a GTX 970. I think. I really don't think it's the video card. I don't think it's my PC setup. The PC is pretty strong. Put it together myself this earlier this year. It runs games like Far Cry pretty flawlessly. On the highest setting. I don't think it's the PC. We haven't always had these issues. Gosh, just drop some more frames. No. Yeah, I really think that it's probably an issue with XSplit. That's what I think. Doxel saying, if you do order the patches soon, will they be in time to ship in 3 weeks? I'm not really sure. I can't remember how long it took to get them last time. We're going with a different supplier this year. Okay, we got Jaguar limping in, Gargar and God and me limping in. I guess we'll just see a cheap flop here. G-Heap asking, are there any pros living in Delaware? I mean, Delaware has some live poker action too, so I would think that there was. And we got Louis Helm. Thank you very much, man, for the ICM code. Really appreciate it, dude. I'm gonna go ahead and make sure to check it out. Thank you very much, man. Javi67 saying, come on, bro. I don't know about you, but I don't want any more of those 6th place finishes. Let's get that big W. I'm gonna try it, man. Gonna try it. Let's get the, you know what I would like to see? I would like to see the payouts. This one pays six places so far. We might have a few more people jump in. Jaguar 111 deciding to go ahead and make the shove, picking up 700 for 3,100. 20-something% of his stack. I guess we make the fold here. I just don't really think that A7 offsuit is going to be ahead of much. Pocket twos? Let's do it. Pocket twos. I like that hand. And this is the kind of hand where if Jaguar 111 made the shove, I think that we're a lot more likely to call with pocket twos than A7. We're just never ahead of anything with A7. Maybe King Queen. Six, eight off. We'll make the fold. So Slaggy asking, how would you play those pocket queens if it was a freeze out versus a rebuy Dutch? I don't know that I would have played it that much differently, you know, Slaggy. I think you know, making the raise pre-flop is going to happen either, you know, whether it's a freeze out or a rebuy. When we get 3-bet by Gargar, I think that I still think that we're probably 4-betting with pocket queens. I mean, we want to have queens in our 4-bet range. The flop comes out king high. At that point, I think that we go ahead and fire out again. We're out of position, but we're pretty much going to be making that C-bet as long as we have the last pre-flop aggressive action heads up with really any flop. So king high doesn't really stop us. You know, we still would prefer to just go ahead and, you know, the problem is if we make the check with a king high, then we're just kind of opening ourselves up to trouble, because it's going to be hard for us to, you know, to call off against a hand like ace queen that decides to put the pressure on us, a hand like jacks or nines that decides to put the pressure on us. Most of the time, I think that we're just done, though. We fire out, you know, half pot. When that takes it, we're probably ahead anyway. So I don't really know, you know, maybe we don't C-bet there. We pretty much just C-bet every hand when we're heads up. So I don't know. Maybe that's one part of our game that we'll tweak a little bit. T-Stylist, subscribing for 4 months in a row. Thank you very much, man. Really appreciate you being here and being part of the stream. 4 months in a row, sticking with us that, you know, 4 months. It's pretty awesome, man. Thank you so much. Oh yeah, 3-bet not saying if you're running 9 or 8 megs, that's definitely the problem. Not megs, gigs, 8 gigs. 8 gigs of RAM. I'm pretty sure that's what we're looking at. Okay, we're making the raise here. Yeah, 3-bet nuts. That's it's not enough RAM. That's pretty funny. Okay, getting called by Tranny Envy, getting called by God and Me. We've got some notes on God and Me. And I like God and Me being at the table. There's some things that God and Me does that I feel vary based on pre-flop hand strength. So we fire out a half pot bet into both of these players. Pocket eights and a 9-3-4 still seems like we probably have the best of it. God and Me making a very quick check behind, or call behind. So now what do we do? I don't know. I still feel like we're ahead. I think that 5 of diamonds probably helped God and Me as well, getting some more outs on the, in those situations where he's got like a an ace jack. So now I think that now I kind of feel like God and Me probably has. I feel like he's got ace high, you guys. I think that he could have a smaller pocket pair, 7s or 6s. Yeah, let's take him to Value Town. The only other thing that I'm thinking is maybe that would have been a good spot to go ahead and check and induce a bluff. If we think that maybe he'll bluff with ace high, but I don't think he will. I think that if he's got like ace jack or ace 10, I think that he's going to just check back. So I can't really put him on too many hands that I think he bluffs there. So I'm okay with making the value bet. Hardy won, talking about Delaware Park. Very good action. The floors are super cool as well. I've never been, but I hear good things about it. We've got some friends over there who I used to room with who work at Delaware Park. So Speedway124 asking how small is the player pool in WSOP? Pretty small, man. What do we got? So in the I mean, there's still late reg in this one. If we look over at the 20 rebuy right here, 157 players. 157 players, all putting up like 10 or 30 bucks. So I mean, it's pretty small compared to some of the other online sites. But it's legal, it's regulated, and I get to play it in Nevada, which is okay. Oh, man. So Grinding and Ground saying pocket twos are ahead of all non-pairs. It's not actually true, and I think that there's money to be made here because most people think that pocket fours is going to be ahead of every overcard that's not every non-pair holding that you can have. It's going to be a slight favorite, 51 to 49, 52 to 48. The fact is, though, if you have pocket fours or pocket threes or pocket twos, and I have a hand like Jack 10 suited or Queen Jack suited, then pocket twos is actually behind that hand. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people just go with the wisdom that pocket pairs are always a small favorite against overcards. Not actually true. And I think that I've been in a spot where if I played it a little bit differently, I think I probably could have gotten a guy to bet on it a few times. So just be warned. Queen Jack suited is actually going to be a favorite over pocket fours. Queen Jack suited, Jack 10 suited is going to be a favorite over pocket threes and pocket twos. We got Ippy316 saying, at Dutchboard, I had no idea you stream on Mondays. I just noticed and yelled for joy. Ippy316. I like a guy who yells for joy at little things. Yes, we are here. We're going to be actually streaming every day this week, guys. Exmois is taking some time off to go see her family this week, and so we're left with just lost. What are we going to do? So we're going to get on the grind. We're going to try to make some money. We're going to try to build the stream up a little bit. I have a goal of getting to 10,000 follows here on Twitch TV before she gets back. I think it can happen. We're almost at 9,200, 14 away from 9,200. I think that we'll probably get to 9,200 tonight. It'll be a lot easier with your help, though. If you haven't actually clicked on that heart button, doesn't cost you anything, helps out the stream. Okay, Ace Jack offsuit. We got W Magic 2 coming in with a minimum open under the gun +1. We're not going to let that stand. We're not going to let that stand. We got NVN177 saying Dutchboard streaming while I grind this 1,120 man tourney out. Gosh, making me pretty jealous there, dude. So a little 2.5x re-raise. We'll wait for it to get down to that trailing digit. Trying to standardize our timing a little bit better than we have in the past, you guys. Cowboys Full saying my wee is green. In Washington State, it's a felony to play online poker. This is true. Some sites won't even allow you to sign up if you live there. Some sites, which are breaking the law by offering poker in any number of states, decide we're not going to do it in Washington, because then it's very hard for us to make the argument that, well, it's kind of gray. I don't really understand it. If you're going to offer online poker in Kentucky, in Florida, if you're going to offer online poker in Utah and Hawaii and Nevada, then why not Washington? I don't know. Okay, so Legan makes the call behind us. We're going to go ahead and c-bet into him. I don't really like it, but we get through. We're probably ahead. He's probably sitting there with like a king-queen or a king-jack suited. Maybe he has the same hand. Ace 8 off. God and me. RS and Mike in the blinds. I think that we just make the fold here with our Ace 8 offsuit. If it's a little bit later in the tournament, we're raising, but we do kind of want to keep our VPIP pretty low until those antes kick in. So Camp Busted, I'm glad that you enjoyed that interview. Camp Busted talking about the Bluff Magazine interview for the 2013 experience over at the Quad. Oh, that place was a wreck, guys. That place was a wreck. If I was Caesars Entertainment, what would I have done with the Quad? I think that I would have just bulldozed it. Instead, they remodeled the rooms and rebranded to the Link. Okay, I think that's okay. That's a good idea, because the Quad had a very bad reputation for being a very, very smelly place. French Fry Gang says, "Do you play sit and goes? Why or why not?" French Fry Gang, great to see you in the stream. Good question. We do play sit and go sometimes here on the stream. I mean, in the past, I used to play quite a bit of sit and goes. I think when it comes down to it, though, I think there's weaker money in MTTs than sit and goes. Sit and goes, I feel like probably can be beaten for a better ROI, and well, not like ROI on your amount, but like ROI as far as hourly rate. I think that you can probably beat sit and goes more consistently, you know, for an hourly rate higher than what you could with MTTs. Definitely lower variance. And every time we've ever played a sit and go on the stream, we've only done it 3 times, but we've won all 3. I feel pretty comfortable with sit and goes. I don't really play them that much, just because I feel like an MTT is kind of better for the stream. It's more of a story arc, you know. It has more parts to it, but it is longer too, more at stake, you know, more of a sweat at the end. We've played some sit and goes though on the stream before. D Shield 300, great to see you on the stream. He says, Dutch, how did you last night? Fell asleep at 1 a.m. here as soon as you made the final table. 39 days and counting. We got 6th. 6th again. So what did that pay? Something, you know, just under $1,000, 960. It was a good day. I can't really complain. Anytime that you know, are up a few hundred on a Sunday, that's a lot better than the worst case scenario. But it wasn't that, you know, it wasn't the big one I was hoping for. Slaggy saying Dutch is a wild man with the small pairs. Yeah. Pay the toll while the woman is away. The boys will play. Yeah. So Tranny Envy coming in with a min raise. I think we're going to go ahead and make the call here and defend. That's a pretty good flop for us, guys. Good enough, I think, to go ahead and make a check raise. Okay. So, really weren't expecting him to just spew out like that. And now we're looking at, you know, a double gutter. A 5 or a 9 hits us. A 10 might be an out, and a 6 might be an out, because I feel like Tranny Envy is probably sitting here with overcards like a king-queen or a queen-jack. So I feel like we've got 14 outs here. I don't know. We're going to make the fold. Turbo Neat, good to see you, man. It's good to see you. Asking, can you play online poker in Florida? No, you can't. I mean, there are plenty of sites out there that will take your action, but it's illegal to play poker in Florida unless you're playing at a regulated card room. And there are those. You know, you've got like a Daytona Beach Kennel Club. You've got some, you know, if you're anywhere near Miami, you've got like Seminole Hard Rock, some places in Tampa. Florida is kind of a hotbed for poker right now, but as far as online poker, no. You're not going to be able to find any legal regulated options in Florida. PokerStars and Full Tilt and all those sites have completely left the U.S. So you've got, you know, 3 states that are operating, you know, that allow operations, and those are, you know, Delaware, New Jersey, Nevada. Florida's not one of them. You can still play online poker if you play, you know, at some of these sites that, you know, are offshore and illegal. You can also find some places that are play money for real money type sites like Hog Wild Poker, Inlop, that kind of thing. Ace is up. Says Dutch, Eximo is gone. Quick, give us a so irritating. I'm gonna try to keep the tilt under control tonight, guys. Mountain Jack in the stream. Good to see you, Mountain Jack. Death by Pocket Pair says, I would guess because you can make more straights with Jack 10 than King Queen. Chalk 101, I don't know that Bovada even allows Nevada, right, you know, at this point. I think that I know ACR does, and I was looking at their terms of service. Plenty of people still play here. And I don't think that they really enforce that, but I actually looked into it because I was considering jumping on ACR for a couple of those millies. Grinding and Ground saying, still sad that Bluff is gone. Me too, man. Shit. I miss Poker Digest, dude. I mean, Bluff. You know, I was really surprised. I was really surprised that they shut down. With Well, it was Churchill Downs that ended up buying Bluff magazine, right, from Eric Morris. I remember he had put together a nice little sales package. My little brother at the time had actually started a little software company under the name Bluffware, and he somehow ended up buying Bluff.com with his partner. So my little brother owned Bluff.com. Eric Morris bought Bluff.com right before the sale, packaged it up real nice for Churchill Downs. So Churchill Downs was pretty well invested in that brand and keeping it up. It doesn't really seem like it was going to be that expensive and that much of a loss, really. So I'm kind of surprised. I'm kind of surprised. Well, we're not going to just check here, but this is a little bit scary of a board. I could easily see Legum having like a Jack 10 suited. I could easily see him having like pocket nines. The fact that he folds makes this a lot safer of a flop for us, because Papaya under the gun, it's a lot less likely to have those kind of hands. Brink 1984 says, Dutch, what was your favorite hotel to stay at in Vegas when you would visit before you moved there? Brink 1984, favorite hotel to stay at. I loved staying at Bellagio, man. That is a nice place to stay. Had a room at Wynn a couple nights too, and that's beautiful. Wynn is beautiful. I never stayed at the Aria. We're thinking about having a little staycation over there at Aria. 757 Boss says, Dutch, what's up, man? You're not playing in the 3-Mil Brigada tournament in a couple weeks, are you? Probably not, man. Let's take a look and see if I get through here, guys. 7-3 offsuit in the big blind. Everybody limped. And there was a pretty big chunk out there for me to just take. So I decided to go ahead and take a shot. Does it get through? I think it does. I think this is going to get through. And it does, picking up a pretty big chunk of our stack without even having to fade those two flops. Spots, not hands, guys. 7-3 offsuit. That's how we do it. Oh man, Sniper MPS, good to see you. We got Ming the Merciless saying, was I? About what? I'm trying to think about what you're asking there. The real Rick the Prick saying, man, I like this guy. He's so damn nice to chat. That's pretty funny, Rick. Honestly, I'm just happy that you're here, man. I'm just happy that you're here. Captain 12 saying, just like it will always be Barbary Coast across from Bally's and Caesars. And Hardy 1, the quad can't smell worse than the Taz or Showboat and AC. That's probably true. I don't think that the quad smells worse than the Venetian. I think the Venetian smells horrible. Chalk 101, illegal to play online. Not really sure if that's a question or a comment. One of these days we're going to figure out a way to play these tournaments without a delay. Makes it so much harder to interact. Iceman Kiwi saying, hi Dutch, the boys not off poker. Good luck, bro. Do your magic. I'm going to try, man. Grinding and Ground. Nate asking if I knew Chad Batista. I did know him. I did know him. Rest in peace, Chad. Rest in peace, Lil Hold'em. You know, every time we hung out, he was always really cool and really chill to hang out with in person, but he said some of the meanest things that anyone's ever said to me over Facebook. He would get drunk and fucked up and then just go on Facebook and start just spewing hate. Not just on me, to a lot of people. You're probably going to see that Jason Mercier probably didn't have anything to say about rest in peace, Chad. I had a nice little quote, a Jem Morrison quote. that I put up on the Twitters. It's interesting how death sanitizes. Yeah, death sanitizes people. There weren't a lot of people, rushing to say good things about Lil Hold'em while he was alive. The week he dies, everyone has a story, and it's so interesting too, because it's like all of those stories, so many of the stories are like, yeah, I had some drinks with Chad, and it was awesome. Had some drinks with Lil Hold'em. I mean, every single story that I read on Twitter was Chad Batista drinking. It's like, and how does he die? He drank himself to death. Way too early. The guy, I mean, he was younger than me. He was, 34 years old. Born in 81. There's no question that he was a strong player. I mean, he definitely had a lot of heart at the table. And he gave me some real good advice one time, as far as, a way to look at getting busted out. Because I've always hated getting knocked out of tournaments. It always feels just rotten. Got knocked out of a Bellagio 10K. Went to the sports bar right there, and he was having a beer. Sat right next to him and, started hanging out. We got No Tilt here, 24, just subscribing. Welcome to the crew, No Tilt. Really appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for clicking on that sub button and supporting the stream. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that you get an ebook after the stream's over when I shut it down. Man, you're awesome. Thank you so much, dude. If there's anything I can do for you, I want you to let me know. Welcome to the crew. Welcome to the crew. Thanks for clicking on that sub button. So I was at the bar, sports bar with Lil Hold'em, Chad Batista. He's sitting there, getting his drink on, and we're talking about it. And I'm not one to share bad beats or anything, but I did share about how disappointed I was to get knocked out. And I was like, man, Chad, it never gets easier. Every single time I get knocked out, it makes me feel just sick to my stomach. I hate it. I hate losing so bad. And he looked at me and was like, not me, dude. It's like, what do you mean? He's like, I love getting knocked out. I was like, what are you talking about? Yeah, you get knocked out, it means you get off work. What other job is there where people are upset when they clock out? You get knocked out of a tournament, it's like clocking out. I was like, huh. That's a weird way to look at it. It's an interesting way to look at it, and it's probably the right way to look at it. It's probably the right way to look at it. You play the best that you can. You do the best that you can in every situation. You try to make the right moves. Sometimes they don't work out. And all you're really trying to do is play this long ass game of poker. Wow, Debana making the call, putting us in kind of a weird spot. We'll fire out half pot and see if we can just get through. You guys don't even see. It did get through. I'm talking about a hand that's going on in my own head. So, you make the best decisions you can at the table. It's a very, very long game, right? In your career, maybe you get to play, well, I mean, if you're playing online, you get to play a lot more. But let's say that you're a live grinder. Maybe you're playing on average, and if you're a real grinder, you're playing maybe on average 100 tournaments a year. So over a 30-year, 40-year career, 30 years, we'll say, that's 3,000 tournaments. And most of those tournaments are not going to end in wins. Most of those tournaments are not going to end in even getting your money back. You're going to be out of the money most of the time. You got all those hours that you put in. You get an hourly rate. You get a lifetime earnings. So if you get knocked out, maybe the right way to look at it is put in a good day's of work. Put in a good day of work. It didn't pay off today, but the EV was there. I made the moves that I tried to I failed. Get up and do it again. Anyway, that always stuck with me. I've tried to look at losing in poker tournaments that way. I haven't been able to do it. D Brown Dan, good to see you in the stream, man. Good to see you in the stream. Bud Dubage saying, Dutch, do you still get carded with your baby face? Thank you very much for the compliment, Bud Dubage. I can't remember the last time I got carded anywhere. Anywhere. Chairman Elite saying, good stuff. Do you prefer MTTs or cash? Brink 1984 just donated $10. Dutch, first drink is on me when you go on your staycation. Cheers. Brink 1984, thank you very much, man. Really appreciate that. $10 donation. That's awesome. That's really cool of you, dude. Thank you so much for supporting the stream. I really appreciate it, man. I really do. Okay. I think that maybe I am going to use that for a drink. I think that I will. Octoritas saying, thank you, grinding. Talking about, grinding and ground, giving a good answer there. Guys, dumb question, but can I play a free roll tournament without any funds on my account? Yes. Okay, guys, let me take a look here. Tracer1 saying, hey, Dutch, been watching for a month. Gotta say, I really dig the stream and the positive attitude. Tracer1, thank you very much, man. Really appreciate you having here on the stream. Irats Beat saying, RIP stream. I don't think so. I mean, we've dropped 1,380 frames, but it's been sitting there at 1,380 for a while. I think it's working fine for most of the people, man. And yeah, we'll go ahead and fire out a $500 raise with Ace-9 offsuit. Under the gun. It's the new button raise. Gosh, we got Legum just making the snap cold call. Under the gun +1. What is his range there, you guys?
We're gonna, like, take over the Bankroll.
I don't know. Newland LL subscribing for 2 months. Thank you so much for sticking with us, man. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate you being part of the crew, dude. Thank you very much for being here, and thank you for sticking with us. That's awesome. Really like having you here. Well, little open-ended straight draw. I can think of worse flops for Ace-9. And what are we looking at? We're probably looking at a smaller pocket pair. Probably looking like pocket 7s or something. And right as I'm saying that, the 7 hits. Hopefully we're looking at... I mean, there's really nothing that we can have here. There's really nothing that Legum can have here where we're going to be able to win this pot. Jaloin 1 decides to go ahead and take a shot at it. And I think it's probably going to work, because I think that we're probably looking at Legum with, like... Well, now that the 7 came, it's more likely that he has 8s or 6s. And the Nothing 8888 asking, hey Dutch, how'd you end up yesterday in the 100? Sorry if you already answered this. I fell asleep at the final table. No problem, man. Got 6th. 6th place finish, up almost $1,000. It's alright. It wasn't great. Bless King saying Dutch Born on Monday. Bless King, we're going to be doing, we're going to be streaming every day this week. Exmois took a little trip up to, Exmois took a little trip up to Washington to go see your family. They might be watching right now. If they are, big shout out to the Cosper family up there in Washington. Up there in Port Orchard. So while she's gone, I'm going to stream every day. But it's probably going to be early streams. We'll just you know, we're playing the $10 rebuy and add-on. We're playing the $30 rebuy and add-on. That's probably going to be about all that we play. Legum doing the pro thing. He's doing the pro thing. He fires out that double rebuy right away. You would expect no less from a guy who wrote the book on poker, who has made it very clear that if you're not willing to go the whole way, rebuys and add-ons, you shouldn't be playing the tournament. And that's true, especially with especially when you have an add-on that gives you a double stack. So Nilesy saying, you may be happy to know GoDaddy secured my back order that expiring domain. I had checked expiring domain spreadsheet, so now I just got to do something with it. You're gonna have to remind me what that domain name was again. Sprito5 saying, hey Dutch, win this tourney. Sprito, I'm going to try, man. Mythical Mark says, Dutch, how long would it take an average person to go from total noob to living off of poker? Wow. Well, that's a good question. It's a good question, Mythical Mark. I do think that, most people out there, if they really dedicated themselves to the game and worked on improving and practiced good game selection, I think that most people probably could make a living playing poker. I don't think that it would be a good living. I think that most people who could play poker for a living would do better doing something else. But you live in we all live in a really good world right now where there's so much information out there, much of it free, where you can actually get really good at poker in a very small amount of time. You also have online where you can put in a huge amount of hands, and get your chops in, grind your teeth really quick. So somewhere around, I think somewhere around the 9-month mark, I think that someone could probably get there in 6 to 9 months if they really dedicate themselves to it. Sprito5 asking, how much money do you have to become a professional poker player? It's a good question. Basically, what you're asking is a bankroll management question. I talk about bankroll management. I've talked about it before on the stream several times. I would say about on average, once a stream, someone asks about bankroll management. How much of a bankroll do you need to play X? How much of a bankroll do you need to play, dollar tournaments? How much of a bankroll do you need to be able to play a 2-5 no limit game? How much of a bankroll do you need to be able to play, sit and goes, spin and goes, $20 multi-table tournaments, the WSOP circuit? There's not really good answers for this, because when we're talking about bankroll management, what we're really talking about is trying to have enough where your risk of ruin is acceptable to you. Depending on what your risk of ruin is, what's an acceptable risk of ruin, you have to come up with that variable first before you can come up with your what bankroll you need. You also need to come up with the variable of how much you're beating the game for, and things like variance. You're going to need a bigger bankroll the less you make in a game. And if you're a negative player, there's no bankroll that's going to sustain you, and you're never going to be able to get your risk of ruin down to 0%. There's no bankroll that can get it down to 0%. How big of a roll do you need to be able to play 1-2 no limit or 2-5 no limit? First off, I would say that you probably can't be a pro unless you are able to play 2-5 no limit. 1-2 no limit, you're probably going to run into the issue where even if you can beat the game, you're probably not going to be able to put in enough hours to beat the game enough to offset all of your other expenses. Okay? So, and this is live. So I think that you need to be rolled for 2-5 no limit. And I think trying to do it with less than 10K is going to be pretty sketchy. 15K is probably the right roll for 2.5 no limit, assuming that you're beating it for somewhere around 25 an hour. I think that if you're beating it for more, you can take a little less. If you're willing to risk going broke, then you can take a little less. You have to ask yourself, what is your in negotiating theory, they talk about BATNA, best alternative to a negotiated agreement. Whenever you're trying to negotiate something with somebody, whether it be a raise at work, whether it be a really good deal on a car. Let's say that you're going out and you're trying to buy someone's car. Well, what you have to ask yourself, and what you have to ask yourself is what you're going to do if you can't buy that car. What is your best alternative to actually negotiating an agreement with this person? It's called a BATNA. If you are in a desert, dying of thirst, right? Someone walks, and someone is pushing an ice cream cart. Fresh water here. Get your fresh water here. You got 3 hours to live if you don't get an Aquafina in you. You go up, and he looks at you, and he knows that you have no best alternative to a negotiated agreement. You got no BATNA. Your BATNA is death. So if he tries to sell you a bottled water for $10,000, then you really have to buy it. So similar to BATNA, right? You have to think about what your best alternative to actually sustaining is. I mean, if you do go broke, what happens to you as a poker player? If you are one of these guys, we had one of our crew members a little earlier say that he's making 60 to 80,000 a year. He's thinking about maybe making a go at poker. If you're this guy, if you're that guy where if poker doesn't work out, you can just go back and fall right back into some construction job, or maybe you're an Uber driver or something. If you have a pretty good easy resume into a salaried or into a job that you're going to be able to make your nut, then your risk of ruin doesn't have to be low. You can say, let's go ahead and put that risk of ruin at 50%. 50%, I'll be able to build the bankroll up, and keep that as the bankroll goes up. The risk of ruin is going to be able to get pushed down. The other 50%, if I go broke, whatever. Just go back to the factory. I'll just go back to Dad's furniture store, and sell mattresses. I always hated buying mattresses, guys. Never understood. You walk into a mattress store, and you're like just sitting on the mattress, and you're looking for a price tag. There's no price tag there. There's no price tag there. You're like, how much is this one? And they kind of look you up and down, look at your shoes, and look at you. And they look outside to see what you're driving. That was $1,200. It's like $1,200 for a mattress, man. Well, you spend a third of your life sleeping on your back. You want to make sure it's comfortable, don't you? Well, yeah, I guess when you put it that way, it makes sense to go ahead and spend $1,200 on a mattress. Is there like a blue book or something that I can look up how much this mattress would go for? Oh, no. You're just going to take my word. I am going to give you a really good deal. We're going to get you into this mattress tonight. Free shipping. Ah, yeah. Gosh, selling mattresses, man. That's not a very good best alternative to going broke. You better put your risk of ruin a little bit lower, my friend. What is an acceptable risk of ruin? I don't know. I'll tell you this, though, guys. It makes it a lot easier to be a professional poker player if you don't have to rely on winning. A lot easier, a lot less stress. This is one reason why I like twitching, is because I feel like that is an avenue where I could be a professional poker player without having to worry about actually beating the game. I mean, for the last 15 years. I've sustained myself just on playing. A couple times I've been able to, try to do things outside of poker. I've always been trying to do things outside of poker, but I always kind of fall back into it. After Black Friday, it's been hard. I do feel like it's getting better. I don't know. I kind of go back and forth. Is poker stronger now than it was last year? I mean, if you look at the numbers, like the tournament entry numbers, probably not. If you look at the global tournament entries, I think they've actually been going up year over year since they've been tracking them. And certainly, I think poker is probably better in Macau, now than it was last year. I don't know, man. I don't know. Waiting for it to get to that trailing digit. Poker Mindset Coach says, Dutch, you talked about the pro thing when DS made the rebuy. Talking about Legum there. He just got moved. The tournament earlier, of the 574 he showed as entered, a re-entry, so no idea how many actual players. Over 250 were finished before the re-entry time ended. All that dead money left on the table. I'm glad they don't listen to you. Yeah, I mean, look at this. We've got 15 players who decided not to go for that add-on. The reason it's so important to get the add-on, you guys. Wow, fade to black. Doing the same thing that Caster's doing. Raise the minimum under the gun, 4-bet and C-bet with 3-bet from the button. This guy is always 3-betting us, guys. Always 3-betting us. So let's go ahead and 4-bet it. This is how we're going to play back at him. And he just shoves it. Sigh. Pocket kings. I guess he wasn't just getting out of line. I guess he wasn't getting out of line, guys. Fade to black. 3-betting us less than 2.5x with the pocket kings. We decided that there's a couple players on this site that when they're doing that, we're going to go ahead and just say, you know what? We're not going to be pushed around anymore. Ran smack into that one. That's what happened. That's what happens when you try to grab a bull by his horns right there. Sometimes they actually have legit hands. Always frustrating too when you're looking at calling off 4,200 after already putting in 4,800 into the pot, into the middle. So I'm gonna look at that. I'm gonna look at that previous hand. We're gonna see. Let's go back here for a second. Look at this. Look at this, guys. We've got the unbeatable hand. The hand that is never beaten. The hand that I don't think that. I think it's been 5 times dealt aces, and we haven't had it beaten since Saturday. It hurt Saturday though. We got the aces cracked on Saturday at a pretty critical point in that weekend warm up. Okay, so yeah, let's fire out the half pot. Stewie Vegas, what do you think? What do you think there in your small blind? We'll go for value town. Don't really see why not. And he folds for 1,500. 1,500. We get a 14,000 pot for a 1,500 bet, and we're going to be able to increase that aces cracked meter by 1. Beautiful. How do we do that again? X and Y usually does it. Anyway, nothing to see here, folks. Let's get back to the main tournament, where we just tried to push fade to black off of pocket kings. He made a very good call. He decided not to fold his pocket kings. Well done, not folding those pocket kings. Looks like we are going to be able to get this add-on in. I did want to look at that. I did want to see his pre-flop raising amount. So when we made it 1,600, or we made it 600 at the 240 level, 2.5x the big blind. He made it 1425 against our 600, which if he makes the call, that's 825 more. So yeah, he's actually going to the. It has to be that he's going to the number pad there. 1,200, 1,440. 1540, 1560, 1780. 1780. So if he clicks half pot, 1780. It would be more than 825. Okay, so let me go ahead and make a little player note on him. And how would we make this note? He's on the button when he made that 3-bet. And we were at the 120, 240 level on the button with King King. Made a 3-bet to 1425 over my open to 600. 2.5x. His 3-bet was less than 2.5x my raise. And then pretty quickly shoved for the rest of it when I made the 4-bet. Okay, so we are in for we're in for a little more than I would have liked in this thing. In for 150, and we are right in the middle of the pack. And let me go ahead and open up the prize pool now. It's going to pay 15 players. 15th is going to be 132. Top prize in this so far. It's still looking like we have some add-ons to get in, but the top prize is going to be about $1,700 in this thing. Let me go ahead and pop this up over here over the avatar, and then I'm going to take a break, you guys. We'll be right back. Let's see. There we go. There we go. What do we got? 3 minutes? Okay. Yeah, we'll be right back, guys, in 3 minutes. Okay, guys, we are back. We are back. Back to 10-8 of clubs. Back to Fade to Black. Back to Miggy 24. Wow. Miggy 24. All I have on Miggy 24 is all in for 60 big blinds at the 60, 120 level. Just decide to shove it. So Poker Mindset Coach saying, I've noticed that the WPT entry buy-ins have been decreasing. Tourneys that were 10,000 before are 3,500 to 5,000 now. The number of entrants is about the same, just cost less. Plus, there are a lot more rebuy tourneys now than before. True that. True that. Par Duque saying, bought your book last week and I'm really addicted to it. Great reading. Congrats. Par Duque, thank you very much, man. Really appreciate you actually ponying up the cost of the book. That's pretty awesome, dude. Really appreciate it, man. And I'm glad that you're enjoying it. I'm glad that you're enjoying it. We got Sode Shant in the stream. Good to see you, my friend. Sode Shant. Hooked us up with some t-shirts this summer that were pretty cool. And one of those I wore on the HPT guest commentary spot. So let's see, we got Chairman Elite. Yeah, 10 years ago it was Pure Freeze-Up tourneys at my local casino. Slad, you saying the poker boom is over? Maybe. Definitely, I feel like poker has been on a decline since Black Friday. I feel that way, but it also could be that it's just in a decline here in the States. If you start looking at poker globally, it might still be increasing. The lower entry numbers at like the WSOP, for example, I think it just kind of it has more to do with the tournament circuit actually being a little saturated now than more so than it was, because I think that if you actually look at the global buy-in numbers, all of the tournament entry fees that are tracked by GPI, it's gone up year over year. I mean, that's what they were saying in February. We're still looking at a really big industry, and it's so much bigger than it was when I started. It's so much bigger than when Moneymaker hit the scene in 2004, 2005. But ever since 2006, it's gone. The main events numbers have gone down since 2006. What happened in 2006, you guys? Why was 2006 the height of it? Well, I'll tell you why. Because of UIGEA. Because of the Safe Ports Act, which pushed party poker out of the States, which made it harder to get money into the poker sites that stuck around. Let's go ahead and make this defend against Tranny Envy. And we just crushed that flop. Could we have come up with a better flop? This is kind of one of those situations where Tranny Envy is probably going to go ahead and c-bet with whatever he's got, fires out a pot-sized bet, and we get to just hope that Tranny Envy has a, an ace-king or an ace-queen. Because if he does, we're going to stack him most of the time, unless, yeah, there he is. Wow. So he gets it all in there with pocket queens, even worse. I'm at a loss, guys. I'm at a loss. So that's good for us. He decides to go ahead and just give his whole stack over to us. That's going to put us probably in one of the top 5. Yeah, that's 5th spot after winning that one. Beautiful. Beautiful. So, Tracer 1, can't, I'm trying to follow that. How do we know that guy was Skolansky? We just know. We just happen to know. Scalancy has streamed in the past on Twitch. It's not really a secret that that's his username. We got like mode in the stream. Great to see you, man. Saying, "Wow, just streaming on a Monday must be my lucky night." I'm gonna be streaming every night this week. Like mode, you're gonna have a lot of lucky nights this week. Ace, Queen of Hearts, not a bad way to start the hand on the button. Ace, Queen of Hearts. Jaloin 1. What do you do in the cutoff there, buddy? He decides to go ahead and make the raise. Kind of a big raise too, up to 900. So we're gonna go ahead and make it 1800, 2250. A little 2.5x re-raise. And no tilt here, 24. I have roughly 10K to my name and think it's a now or never to take a shot at playing because I don't want to work retail in my life. I'm going to finish nursing school as a backup. I definitely feel like giving yourself a good backup is a good idea. So now Jaloin decides to go ahead and make a re-raise here. And, well, guys, I think it's probably time for us to go ahead and back off. We've seen Jaloin play one hand and it was aces. We're getting, 2-1 to make the call. The problem is, even if we hit our ace, we don't really know if it's good. Even if we hit the queen, we don't know whether it's good. This is a very, very strong hand, but we're going to be, it's going to be pretty uncomfortable if we make the call and he keeps on being aggressive like I would expect him to be. It's going to be 15,000 in the pot. We're probably not behind. We're probably behind. I just don't really see Jaloin doing this with ace 10, ace jack. So best case scenario is we got Jaloin with pocket jacks there or pocket tens. I don't think that's what we're looking at. Could be, it could be a pretty weak 3-bet fold there. I think a lot of people are like, well, why would you even 3-bet if you can't call a 4-bet? I don't know. Because we thought we had the best hand. That's why. Figured that his opening range there was pretty wide and wider than Ace Queen of Hearts. Ace Queen of Hearts is one of those top tier hands. Now though, I wish that I would have just made the call, play on the button. Well, that happened. We got JT Hollywood's pocket aces cracked. He played it pretty slow. Let us get a bet in there on the flop, and then kind of got to the point where now we're getting 3-1 to make the call, and we didn't like it. But thought that maybe we were looking at some sort of draw. Anyway, we had 2 streets to crack it, and we did. Ace King of Hearts looks pretty good, guys. Looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and make that 700 bet. We'll wait until it gets to that trailing digit. There we go. So Miggy24 making a raise here to 1900, actually 1899. Do we want to just get it all in here with him? Yeah, let's do it. Let's get it all in here with him. He's gonna he'll shove. He's not gonna fold. Not what we're looking for, guys. Come on, hit the ace. Can we do it? No. So that took a pretty big chunk out of us, guys. Miggy 24, making the raise from the small blind to 18.99. I mean, a big part of ace king suited is that we're not really supposed to be up against aces or kings. When we are up against kings, it's not the end of the world. We still have like a 2-to-1 chance of hitting it. But we're kind of looking at that, thinking that we're probably up against queens or jacks. Sometimes I think that we just have the same hand and we're at a 3.5-to-1 advantage over them. And I also think that a good chunk of time, some chunk of time, Miggy 24 is actually sitting there with an ace queen or an ace jack. So yeah, that puts us down to the bottom of the pack now, 42 out of 55. But we're still looking just plenty healthy. We're looking at 40 big blinds in front of us, 42 big blinds. It's a lot of play. So I'm not going to worry too much about it. A big part of No Limit Hold'em tournament success, though, guys. I say this I say this every once in a while. Too often. Is looking down, when you lose a big part of your stack, but you still have plenty relative to the blinds, is looking down and not feeling like you are short. We aren't short stacked here. We have a lot of blinds in front of us, a lot of play left in this stack and in this tournament. It doesn't feel that way though when we go from a 30,000 stack to a 12,000 stack, when we run ace king suited into kings. Feels like, I mean, how are we supposed to play that? Are we supposed to just, I mean, we can't just fold. He made it 18.99 from the small blind. I guess we could have called, but then if we call, then we're just basically hoping to hit an ace or a king and give up. We're just going to say, oh, well, he must have some sort of pocket pair, so we're going to hit an ace or a king, or we are giving up on this hand. It just seems so weak. If ace king suited isn't in our 4-bet range, then what is? Are we really only going to be 4-betting in that situation with two hands, aces or kings? Maybe that would have been the right move. So we get ace king of hearts again. Sensitive Tony saying, talking about that ace queen, saying it's a reasonable fold, especially after big win the previous hand. You just worked hard to build your stack, and no point getting it all in behind pocket kings. Ha, Sensitive Tony, you just said that, and now watch what happens here. Is we're going to do exactly that. He just said that, and right before the hand where we have the ace king suited. Okay, making the fold. Sensitive Tony's like, shove now, don't 4-bet. So, do you guys notice a difference? Do you guys notice a difference here? We got a Ja Loin who made it more than 4x with a hand he was willing to 4-bet. And here, he's just making it a straight 2x. It's a pretty good flop for us, guys. It's you know, the fact that there's 3 spades on board is good for us because it makes it a lot more likely that we're going to get called here and that we're going to get some action from our top 2 pair hand. So he's probably got 9 outs at least, 18%. We want to give him about 4 to. So he's probably getting 4 to 1. Maybe he's got. Maybe he's even got some sort of combo draw. And he says no. So 16,727, moving up, you guys. JT Hollywood with the 2x. You know, part of me maybe thinks checking back on that turn wouldn't have been so bad against Jaloin. I think it's going to be easier to get a call from him on the river than on the turn probably. And a lot of times checking back on the turn is going to induce a bluff on the river. If the spade comes, and we're probably calling. But depends on how much it is. I would have liked to see what he had. You know, it's one of those situations where I would have actually liked to see the showdown, because I want to know what Jaloin is making a minimum raise with as opposed to a 4x raise with. We're seeing differences in what Jaloin's pre-flop opening multiple is, and this is not tapering. This is Jaloin adjusting his pre-flop opening multiple based on hand strength. This is what we're seeing. So, I guess why we don't want to see a showdown is because we don't want him knowing that we're 3-betting with Queen 10. So we got Fade to Black in the cutoff. We got Miggy 24 in the big blind. And we got King 3 suited. Seems legit. Let's go ahead and take a shot at it. So Fade to Black here, making the 3-bet. Not enough for us to fold. The last time he made a 3-bet like that, he had kings. It's less than 2.5x. It's actually even less than that. So let's see a flop and see what happens. We hit the flush draw pretty good. It's going to be a check raise. So we crack the unbeatable hand there, Fade to Black, making the 3-bet with the aces. Flopping his set, betting half pot, and getting us to put it in with way the worst of it. Way the worst of it. How bad were we there? Against a set? Pretty bad. Pretty bad, you guys. He got us. He had us pretty well nailed there. Kevin Lee 1 2 3 4. 2 months in a row. Thank you very much, man. Really appreciate you. Really appreciate you being here, and thank you for sticking with us. So we had outs. I mean, we had 9 outs twice, but he had redraws to a boat. We're not really expecting to see a set there. I think a lot of times we're able to get him off of. I mean, we're probably able to get him off of pairs smaller than an ace. Sometimes we're even able to get him off of a weaker ace. Sometimes, I think a good chunk of time we're able to get him off of hands there. But wow, pocket aces just crushed the flop. We had the not flush draw. Decided to go ahead and go for that check raise shove. Try to get some fold equity. We had no fold equity. Against his range, though, I think we've got fold equity. It is interesting. His 3-bet sizing. So at the 200, 400 level, raised my 900 open. How much did he make it? 1900? Nope, 2000. So 33,754. We're right back into the top 9 stack after putting a hurt on fade to black. And here we're getting 8-1 to make the call. Seems like an okay call. We'll hope for some sort of magic to happen. Is that a magic flop? Well, it's not a horrible flop. There's enough people in here that it kind of protects. It kind of protects it, guys. Look at this hand. This is going to be fun. 1300 plus the open limp, so we make it 1900. The king 2 off was a bust. We're just done with it. And it looked like someone made a half pot raise, another person called. We're just done with it. JD Cole, good to see you, man. Great to see you here in the stream. Gosh, now what do we do? Well, we're going to fire out the 1900 again. I don't like it. It's not the greatest flop for pocket kings, but we're basically c-betting everything, so we're not going to stop just because an ace hits. Let's get back to our feature table. And we have ace-9 of hearts with Miggy 24 making a min raise, George McFly calling. Ace-9 of hearts. You know, it feels like maybe we could get through here. Let's just go ahead and see a cheap flop. Jack 9. Pretty good flop, really, for ace-9 of hearts. Pretty good flop, really. I mean, we're a little worried about a jack. The 2 jacks is better than just 1 jack. It makes it a lot less likely that we're looking at a jack 10 or something. So George McFly taking a shot here, firing out 1200. I think we're going to go for a check raise. See if maybe our ace-9 is good. I think that a lot of times George McFly could easily be betting the combo draws. He could be betting smaller pocket pairs. He can also have a jack. There's no rule against him having a jack here. We'll see how he plays it. So he makes the call. The 3 of clubs comes. A little bit worried about him having a jack. We're going to go ahead and fire out a half pot size bet. He makes a very quick call. Kings. Nice hand there, George McFly. Interesting. Well, I bet he wasn't too comfortable with it. I bet when we made the check raise, he was like, "Oh no, oh no." Yeah, it's gonna be pretty hard to get him to fold that. Definitely didn't think that was in his range. I was a little worried about the. A little bit worried about the jack. Wasn't too worried about anything else. We got Eximois still here. She's going to bed. Love you, baby. Okay, let's go ahead and make that 22.53 bet. We are in the caster position now. Oh wow, fade to black, just making the shove. What do we do with ace 10 offsuit? He made that shove awfully quick, you guys. Awfully quick. Like quick enough where I am very tempted to make this call here. Quick enough where I think that a good chunk of time we're looking at pocket nines or pocket eights. A good chunk of the time we're actually, we could be looking at like king queen suited. Make the fold. Cove Commando 2, it's good to see you, man. Moving chips, guys. Just moving chips. So, Click You asking how we count the percentage on a flush draw. We use the 2% per street rule. You count out how many outs you have. You basically multiply by 2% per street. So you're looking at if you've got 9 outs twice, you're looking at 18 plus 18, 36. You got to subtract a little bit the more outs you have. I think that I think it might have been Louis Helm who was telling me his trick is you take how many outs you've got, you subtract 8, and that's the percentage that you remove. So if you're 36% with 9 outs, you're going to take 2% off that. You're actually 34%. Then you have to worry about redraws, though, right? So when you're up against a set and he's got redraws against your flush, now you could hit your flush and still lose. Yeah, I think it also took out one of our outs too. Mythical Mark says, Dutch, I love your stream because you only show one table at a time, which really helps the new players learn. Streams with 4 tables make it really difficult for a newbie. Making the fold up there. Thank you very much, man. I really appreciate the compliment. Mythical Mark, I really appreciate you being here. I agree. I don't fault people for multi-tabling on the stream. I think a lot of people are kind of treating their Twitch stream as kind of kind of an afterthought. They're going to be playing first and streaming second. If we weren't streaming, we wouldn't be playing these tournaments. The whole point of what we're doing tonight here on WSOP.com is streaming. So try to make that. We try to make that the focus and try to make the best stream that we can. And sensitive showing, I think it was 8-1. actually, with the king 2 off. We were getting 8-1 on that, I think. Pippin87 saying Caster just joined the table, and no, we're gonna try to. You know, he really kept us up the other night thinking about how we're gonna combat all those 3 bets. He's got a pretty nice stack in front of him. Caster moves chips really well, you guys. He really does. Slaggy's saying, Dutch, how do you feel about the popular generalization that raising to see where you were at is a mistake? Well, Slaggy, I'm glad you asked. Actually, we're one of my future poker clinics. I'm going to be talking about all the different reasons to raise. Right? We can come up with a lot of reasons. Generally, I think raising to see where you're at is a mistake. Like if you make a raise, you should be either raising for value, trying to get a worse hand to call, or you should be, raising as a bluff, trying to get a better hand to fold, right? If you're only going to get called when you're beat and you're never going to get better to fold, then that's a dark tunnel bet. That is not a good bet. And you could be like, well, I'm going to make this bet just to see where I am. If I get called, then I know that I don't have the best hand. If he folds, then I know that I do. Doesn't make any sense. You start running through that decision tree. You run that a bunch of times, and yeah, I would agree that generally that's a mistake. There are going to be some bets that look like dark tunnel bets, but actually they're what I call mitigation bets, where you're out of position and you are going to have to pay off a bet if you check. Look at this. We got Jeff in Houston making the subscribe button, hitting that subscribe. Jeff in Houston, welcome to the crew, my friend. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. Let's pot this size up. Let's pot this baby up, man. We got ace queen off. I like it. I like it. If Caster decides to go ahead and 4-bet shove, we'll make the call. Jaloin can't have aces or kings here because Jaloin doesn't play timid with those kind of hands. So Caster's pretty much wide open for his VPIP on the button. I think that he could easily have, top. I mean, he's basically raising with his top 60% of hands here. So ace queen is crushing his range. If he 4-bet shoves, ace queen is still crushing his range. So he makes the fold, everyone makes the fold, and we go ahead and pick up a little chunk of change, which is just fine. Ace queen is almost strong enough where maybe we even slow play it, but almost. Like Mode saying, I fell asleep in the final table. How did Dutch do in the 220k guaranteed? Not so good in that one. We did final table and get 6th in the 100 reloader. Hey, Jeff in Houston, man. Jaloin making that min. I think we're going to just pot this again. And Jeff in Houston, I'm going to go and send over a DRM-free digital version of my book, Poker Tilt, to you after the stream is done. Really appreciate you being here, dude. Thank you so much for supporting the stream. If there's anything I can do for you, I want you to let me know. I know how easy it is just to kind of relax and not subscribe. Most of the streams that I watch, I don't subscribe to. The fact that you decided to go ahead and support this stream really means a lot to me. So thank you very much, man. Really appreciate you. Welcome to the crew. Let me know if there's anything I can do to make it a better experience for you. So yeah, we raised pre with the pocket eights. We got called by Colonel Hans Landa. We got called by Jaloin. An ace and a jack and a 9 hit, and I just think that we're giving up on this flop. Maybe we're giving up a little too easily. Maybe Colonel Hans Landa has like pocket 10s here, and Jaloin has like a jack, queen, and we could play aggressively and get them off of it. Maybe. but not the situation that we're looking for. You know, really what we want is he raises, we 3-bet pot it, and currently hands along to folds, and he folds too, and we pick up the pot without a flop. Or he makes the call, and we fire out a C-bet, and he folds post-flop. We're not really trying to play eights two ways out of position when we've got you know, a pre-flop opener and a pre-flop cold caller of a 3-bet. Caster now making a little bit more than 3x, 16-12. Flag mode asking, does anybody know who Caster is in real life? I don't. I thought I did, but I don't. Plays pretty good. Stinky Druid asking, did you open a few packs for the new Hearthstone today? I didn't. I don't really think I'm going to be spending a lot of money on Hearthstone packs. JD Cole 72, not actually affiliated with Czech Shove Poker anymore. I definitely wish them the best of luck. We ended on very good terms. Hunter Senchi, he's awesome. He got second in that online event. You know, the guy who runs that site. He also did, you know, just recently cashed in the Seminole Hard Rock. I really like him, and I really wish him the best of luck. The only reason I had to leave was because there were some conflicts with some of the other things that I'm doing. So, yeah, I hope that they do well. KDP Nut saying, for folks interested, Congress is currently on summer recess, so senators and representatives of each state are back in their states. Now is a great time to call or make an appointment to visit them and speak with them about legalizing online poker in the United States and trying to bring back online poker such as PokerStars. KDP Nut, thank you very much for the announcement. I think that that is a great announcement, and I really appreciate you saying that. So Congress is currently on summer recess. Senators and representatives of each state back here in Nevada for me. Okay, I will make sure to you know, spend some time contacting all of my representatives here in Nevada. Okay, so Isildur firing out a donk lead here, 1567 and a 2850. Why donk lead, Isildur? Why make the donk lead? We're gonna make the fold. Sometimes we just raise there. Mo Golo saying, you keep saying you play these trains because of stream. What would you be playing online if not these? Would you ever stream that? So Mo Golo, I'll tell you, if I wouldn't actually really be playing online tonight, I probably wouldn't be playing at all for a while. I'd probably just be focusing on like coding or, you know, some web development stuff, writing my book. And probably playing some of the bigger tournaments on the trail is probably what I would be doing if it weren't for Twitch. E-Pause asking, isn't Isildur a pro? This one might be, but that's not the Isildur that you're thinking of. Victor Blom is not playing on WSOP.com. Guys, I would appreciate it too if you haven't yet clicked on that follow button, the heart button right underneath the video. Please do. Just takes a second. Really helps us out. We just reached our goal of 9,200 follows tonight, so I really appreciate all of you being here. I guess we pushed those goalposts just a little bit further back. 9,300. Could we make 9,300 tonight? No. But we could make 9250 with your help. Click on that little heart button, get the follow. We're going to be streaming every day this week. Next week we'll go back to our normal schedule. And Jeff in Houston saying, I've learned a lot watching your streams this past month. Thanks. You are more than welcome, man. Really happy to have you here. And thanks so much for being the newest member of our crew. 1,300. If there's anything I can do for you, please do let me know, Jeff in Houston. Dude, you're awesome. Thank you so much, man. I hope that you get a chance to give this book a read too. I think that you're gonna like it, Jeff, and I hope that you give it a read. If you do, let me know what you think about it. Making the fold here against George McFly. Ace is up, 316, clowning me. You know, there's only so many ways to say thank you. If there were more, I I do mean it. You know, I do mean it. Ace is up. I mean the speech every time. Wow, look at this, you guys. This is tough for me. JT Hollywood has kind of been all over the place. Here he's making it more than 3x. I think that we just make the call. Flop comes out not so favorable, so I guess we just check fold. Gosh, I mean, like, how else are we supposed to play ace-9 of clubs in the big blind against a cutoff raiser that we expect is going to is going to be playing pretty aggro? The king of diamonds does nothing to help our cause. If that, you know, now JT Hollywood can convince himself that we're firing out with some sort of draw. And yeah, I think JT Hollywood has something like pocket 7s here, pocket 6s, pocket 8s. Ace Jack. He has Ace Jack, and we get to go ahead and get our money back, which I feel just dandy about. So caster coming in against our big blind. We're going to go ahead and make the fold here, boys. Chairman Elite saying, can I get a signed copy of A Match Made in Space at George McFly? Was that the name of his sci-fi book? A Match Made in Space? George McFly coming at us. We're going to get out of the way. And George McFly coming in again with the raise. So Fasana saying donk lead is good when you're going to call a c-bet, in my opinion. Fasana, I think that it's better just to check raise. You know, if you think that you're ahead, go ahead and make a check raise instead of just donk lead. A lot of times, donk leading just induces someone to you know, make a raise against you and puts you in a spot where you're not really loving it. Check raise. Don't donk lead, check raise. So, guys, we have a power hand here, pocket jacks. We have almost enough where we just make the shove here. But I think we just go back to our standard open, given that we have 12.5 bigs. Deacon Jackal saying, what do you think was the main reason for Black Friday? Well, like, why do I think the Department of Justice decided to go ahead and crack down at the sites that were violating the Safe Ports Act, the UIGEA? Like, why do I think that they did that? I mean, I think that it's their job. You know, they're supposed to. Everyone saw it coming, but everyone was surprised. I was surprised. You know, just weeks before it happened, I went on Quad Jacks with an interview talking about how the whole thing is just going to fall apart, and that, you know, all the sites are breaking the law. There's no gray about it, and everybody knew. You know, you'd deposit money into these sites, and then, you know, your credit card bill would come back and it'd be like for golf clubs. And you're like, I didn't buy golf clubs. I deposited money into an online gambling site. and poker stars in full tilt doing all their ESPN ads. You know, come play with the pros. This is not a gambling site. It's like, I mean, who are you really fooling, man? You're not fooling anybody. Why did Black Friday happen? I mean, you can point to maybe, maybe some of the Vegas interests trying to clear the way to get in. You can point to some, if you're cynical, or if you're prone to conspiracy theories, you can come up with any number of interests which might have been able to make money off of them going down. But I don't think so. I think it just has to do with the Department of Justice and some prosecuting attorneys out of New York looking at it and saying, look, these guys are making billions of dollars and they're violating this law and this law and this law. Let's bring them in. Let's start serving indictments and shut them down, because this is costing the American taxpayer billions of dollars in rake that's going offshore into foreign bank accounts. And I think there's enough people who look at poker as a social negative that they were like, let's go ahead and rein it in, folks. I don't think that there's much more to it than that. Let's make the defense here with 5-3 offsuit against JT Hollywood's open. I think JT Hollywood is opening pretty wide these days. I kind of feel like we're getting the right odds to go ahead and see if we can't crack whatever he's coming to the table with. We get 5-3 off on this. It's a pretty nice flop. So let's make the raise. Is this what we're doing? No, we're doing 5,400. We're doing 3x. And if he comes back over the top of us, it's going to be a little uncomfortable, but we're going to make the call. Oh, that's a pretty good idea. Aces up, an emote of the book cover. I like that. That's a good idea. I like that a lot. Uh, 10-5 off. Sure. Colonel Hans Londa. We've seen him cold call a raise and a 3-bet. Now he just shoves. Well, we'll let him think about it for a little while. And Sensitive Tony. Sensitive Tony talking about that ace-9 of clubs hand, saying that we probably could have taken away on the turn. He might be right. He might be right. I think that a lot of turns there we're going to go ahead and try to take it. The King of Diamonds, though, wasn't a very good card for us because it put 3 diamonds on the board, which I feel like he can start leveling himself into thinking that we're just firing out with a diamond draw. So Isildur making the shove here. What are we at? 400, 800. So he's got 15, 16, 17 bigs. We made it 2. He shoves for 17. Okay, we will fold. And guys, let's switch over here. Look at this. We make the make the 2x with our unbeatable hand. Feeling pretty good. Hey, Big Mac Stacks talking about explaining tapering. I actually did a whole poker clinic on tapering, so check it out on the YouTube channel. You can probably see the panels right there, and like a link right there in the panels. Queen 10-5 looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Bluffed your girlfriend. What do you do with it? Decides to check to us, and we're going to go ahead and fire out the same amount, 2,500. Hope that he has like a queen jack or pocket kings. The 2 of hearts hits. Fire out half pot. The unbeatable hand, guys. The unbeatable hand gets cracked. 32 out of 157 up there. We're going to have to reset the cracked-o-meter. That sucks. Okay, let's get back to our featured tournament where we decided to go ahead and make a raise with Jack 10 suited. Colonel Hans Londa decides to go ahead and make the ship with 18,000. Miggy 24 snap calls. We're going to get out of the way. It's going to serve you right, Colonel Hans Londa. Oh, we don't get to see what happens. How do they just move us like that? Come on. That sucks. Does it even show up in our you know, I don't think it's even going to show up in our hand history. So they call me Crook saying, Dutch, I'll be doing a lot of work in Nevada over the next couple months. I'm from Texas. Will it be legal for me to play while in Nevada, or do I have to be a resident of the state? Nope, you can play in Nevada if you're here. No question about it. Yeah, so we have no idea what happened with that Jack 10 suited. We just lost it. If we look at our hand history, it doesn't even show up in our hand history. Oh, there it is. There it is. Pocket kings versus pocket queens is what we were looking at. Colonel Hans Londa shoves with pocket kings, 22 bigs, and Miggy made the snap call with pocket queens. So, guys, 8-9 offsuit. What are we going to do with it? Well, we're not going anywhere. We're definitely at least calling. The only question is if we raise or not. He checks to us. Let's go ahead and fire out a half pot bet and see if we can't just take it. Makes the quick call, checks again. And I think that we're probably going to take kind of a creative line here. We'll check. If a heart comes, we'll bet. I don't think we're going to be able to get an ace off. So there you are. Nice hand. If a heart came, though, we're going to go ahead and try to represent that hand. If an 8 or a 9 come off, or a jack come off, then we'll be probably value betting it. I just don't think that I think that Diabetes is probably calling us there with his ace jack. I think he's calling us the whole way. So we decided to give up when he made the call on the flop. He didn't believe us that we had a 10. He didn't believe us that we had a 3. The queen came on. You know, if we had a 10, then we are probably checking back at that point. If we had a 3, then maybe we would value bet. But I don't think that he's putting us on a 3. I think that he's putting us on a flush draw or stone cold air. And he's right. So decided to give up on that bluff. Guys, we're going to be right back in 3 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Okay, guys, we're back. We are back. We just had aces cracked in the 2K guaranteed. We're still trying to move chips in this $30 rebuy and add-on. 23 out of 37 left. We're in a spot where 15 players get paid. Let me go ahead and get the why do we? Yeah, there it is. 15 players get paid. Top prize 1,758. So really kind of right in the middle of the pack, sitting here with 23 big blinds. Dylan's dad making the open limp. We're gonna go ahead and give Dylan's dad a little bony fish for that one. Dylan's dad just dumping Dylan's college fund down the drain with those kind of open limps. And we'll make the fold here with King 7 off. June's going on a hunger strike these days, guys. Do you want to say that? Do you want to come up? Coming up. Pocket Queens. That looks pretty good, guys. That looks pretty good. Got to think Diabetes will come along. He does. He makes 1,600. Let's go ahead and raise it to 4,000. Most of the time, I think, oh, beautiful. Beautiful. And does that reopen the action for us? It should. Hold. And it holds. Back up to 28,000, you guys. That's good. So, JD Cole, I'll tell you, a place that kind of surprised me is the El Cortez. The El Cortez is just in this huge remodel. They've got an annex which is right across the street from El Cortez, right there on Ogden, and is it 6th, I think. And V-Rob was staying there this summer. I was really surprised with the rooms over there, guys. I really was. I think that the El Cortez might be the best value in Vegas right now, as long as you're staying in the annex. It looked pretty swanky and it was very cheap. It's also a really cool part of town. It's actually a really cool part of town. You know, downtown has really come a long way. When I first got into Vegas, rolling in back in, I guess the first time I came into Vegas was the late 90s, but the first time I really came into Vegas on my own, you know, to have that Vegas adventure, try to grind up the roll, was back in 2002. Took a Greyhound into town, and I got to tell you, Fremont Street was a little bit sketchy. You'd cross Las Vegas Boulevard, and it was kind of scary, man. But now you got Tony Hsieh, who's just kind of dumping money and sprinkling it around downtown, trying to revitalize it, and it's kind of a nice place to be. You've got some pretty cool bars down there. You've got some cool coffee shops. You've got he's trying to make it like a place for collisions, is what he calls, where people will meet each other and come up with the next Facebook or Twitter or Amazon or Zappos or whatever it might be. Poker Mindset Coach says, second-tier hotels on the Strip in downtown have great rates. One thing I will warn you about, when you see a posted rate, make sure and ask if that includes the entertainment tax. Can double the price of a room. Very good advice there, Poker Mindset Coach. And DYDX Dota, saying, yeah, I quickly found out that they jack prices up when CES is in town. Contacted Aria Poker Room today, and they said I can't get a poker rate during CES. So Sean saying that's with any convention in town. That's exactly right. You know, one of the worst times I ever had in Vegas was when I was looking for a room during EDC, Electric Daisy Carnival. That any time you've got a big conference coming in or a big festival or something where a lot of people are going to be in town, the rates go up quite a bit. And JD Cole 72 putting out a link for Ace Play Poker, which I think is the Stratosphere free money for real prizes site, right? Caster, come at us. I know you're going to. All over the place. This time he decides to make it a little bit higher. Why does he make it higher? I mean, I appreciate that you're making it higher, Caster. I do, because I don't want to have to defend with 5 high. You know, and if you make it lower, we're defending with 5 high. So thank you for making it higher, but why are you making it higher? You know, when you make it higher like that, then it makes me think maybe I should make a raise here with 5-4 offsuit, because you're making it enough where it doesn't look like you really want action. Okay, so fade to black, making that minimum open under the gun. We're sitting here with king 6 of diamonds in the small blind, and I think that we're just going to let it go. So Mighty Sourdough saying, do we know the reasoning why the DOJ didn't or doesn't shut down sites like Bovada and Sportsbook, etc.? Mighty Sourdough, if they could, they would. You know, Bovada used to be called Bodog.com, and the DOJ, I'm pretty sure, took that .com away. That's why they moved to .lv. .lv does not stand for Las Vegas. It stands for Latvia. So, you know, the Department of Justice doesn't really have control over the world. They only have control over American assets. Now, you might not realize this, but .com and .net and .org, those are American-controlled assets. If you own a .com or a .net domain name, or a .org domain name, or a .us domain name, then you basically have seizable property in I think it's in Kentucky, right? I think VeriSign is actually in Kentucky. That's why you know, when all those sites were seized, it was through Kentucky. So yeah, if Bovada was running on .com, then they would have been shut down as well. I don't think they were. I don't know what happens on Bovada.com. Let me find out. Does it just redirect, or... No, it goes straight to the sportsbook. It goes straight to it. How do they get away with it? Well, I don't know. The DOJ could and should just come in and seize the .com and take it, because there's really no reason why. I mean, sports betting is, you know, obviously and very much directly in violation of federal law, 18 U.S.C. 1084, which incidentally is also what Mr. Dickshit, real name, I'm not calling him names, his actual name is Dickshit, the founder of Party Poker, that, I mean, he ended up having to pay a $300 million settlement with the Department of Justice for violating 18 U.S.C. 1084, the Wire Act, before the DOJ decided to come out with an opinion letter saying, you know what, maybe the Wire Act doesn't apply to online poker. Maybe it just applies to sports betting. Maybe. I mean, you sure wielded the Wire Act, DOJ, against some people for poker. So, does an opinion letter change the law? Not really. It's not really up to the DOJ to decide whether the Wire Act applies to poker or not. It's up to a jury. It's up to a judge and a jury. It's only up to them to decide whether to prosecute the law or not. So they decided not to prosecute it based on an opinion letter. Kind of like how they said that they're not going to use federal resources to prosecute or shut down medical marijuana under Obama. And yet you see under Obama, they've actually shut down more dispensaries under Obama than they ever did under Bush. I'm not really big on weed, guys, but I do think that there is some similarity between the fight to legalize both.
We are gonna take over the poker room.
And similar arguments for doing so. Look at this. We got Ferris S4. 4 months in a row he's been with us. You're the best, man. Ferris S4, thank you so much. What do you want, June? You want to say hi to everybody? Here she is, crying. She's on a hunger strike. I put out food for her a couple hours ago. She won't touch it because she's angry. She feels abandoned by Examois. Where's Mommy? Where's Michelle? You don't know? So I don't know what to do, guys. I guess I'm just going to give her a treat and a cookie, and if she doesn't stop crying soon, I'll just get rid of her. Send her outside on her own. Have a little homeward bound scene where she, hops a train and gets her way up to Port Orchard all by herself. Okay, making, let's give this a shot. Got food here, Jim. Here. Did it work? No. Not only did it not work, but now we're in a really uncomfortable spot where we have to call. And there's really no point in trying to push our win off of this hand. Pocket kings, pocket eights. Nice hand there, Miggy 24. Mythos666 asking if I played in that Grand Prix earlier this year. Nope, can't say I did. It was right during the Colossus event. Okay, Isildur, we will make the defense, the big blind defense. We will hope to actually hit top pair with a king kicker. I mean, if we were going to design a flop, I guess it would look something like this. Maybe we'd make that 2 a club, and maybe would make that 4 a club. Here he comes, 22-55. Under the gun +1, a little worried about the 10s, a little bit worried about the jacks, a little bit worried about the aces and the queens, but not worried enough about it where I'm not going to go ahead and fire out a check raise here. I think as often as he has those hands, Isildur's looking at 8, 7, 6s, and 5s. So if he makes the shove here, guys, this might be the swan song, because I would say when he has a pocket pair, half the time we're ahead of him, the other half of the time we're not. So who knows? So IRATS Beats asking a question. Sorry I missed it in the stream here, making the fold here with Jag 8 suited, saying, I don't know if you didn't see my comment or if I just missed your answer, but I was wondering if it's better to grind online on live tournaments or cash games. It's a very good question, IRATS Beats. One thing I would say is that I feel like there's a lot more dead money in the MTTs, and there's a lot of reasons for this. You know, the square money or the dead money, or you know, the average Joe working guy money, it lasts longer in an MTT environment. You know, you can't really lose that much on MTTs on WSOP.com on any given night. There's just not that many big buy-in tournaments. You know, on Stars or Full Tilt or Bovada ACR, it's pretty much the same thing. Try to lose $3,000 in multi-table tournaments in a single night. You can't do it. I mean, sometimes you can if you're playing scoops, or if you have if you get all crazy on a Sunday. You can't do it on WSOP.com though. We've got a $30 rebuy and add-on. We've got a couple $20 tournaments. We've got a couple $10 tournaments. If you if you bought in for the maximum every single tournament, you're still looking at probably less than $300. So JT Hollywood. I guess we're gonna go ahead and keep on firing out the same amount. What do we do if we get check raised? Pretty wet board. Pretty wet board there, JT Hollywood. Getting more than 2 to 1. If he has a 10, we're going to need some help. He could have 2 pair, and we could be in real bad shape. Or he could have a hand like pocket sixes, or an ace-7, and we're going to be very sad that we make this fold, but fold we will. I don't think we're ahead. I think that we're looking at a 5-out or twice. So IRATS beats the dead money is deader in MTTs than cash games, but cash games are probably the way that you would want to go if you're trying to make a living grinding online. Cash games scale better. It's a lot easier to play 6 to 8 cash games to the same limit than it is tournaments. Tournament strategy changes so much based on effective stacks and the stage of the tournament you're in. Your standard preflop opens are going to just constantly be changing. Then you got all those ICM considerations to think about. So online cash games scale better. MTTs are probably easier to beat, but if you can beat the cash games, and if you exercise good game selection, make sure that you're only playing against people that you know that you can beat, and you can say specifically why you have an edge. The hourly rate is going to be much better in cash games online. And you're going to be able to have a lot lower variance in those cash games. You are also going to have a higher ceiling as far as how much you can win in a year on those cash games. It's a good question. $6-9 off. We've got JT Hollywood coming at us with a 3x. R-Win making the call. R-Win, man. I don't like the way R-Win plays, you guys. JD Cole 72 saying, so will my dream come true? Will I get to play on WSOP.com with Dutch September 2nd to 4th at some point? JD Cole, got to dream a little bigger, buddy. That is an easy dream to make come true. We can we can make that dream come true tomorrow. You can hop on a red eye from Denver to Vegas, and we could be playing a little $3 freeze out by 7 in the morning. Dream big, my friend. But yes, I think that the dream will come true. Let's make a final table together, man. That would be pretty awesome. Gosh, Caster, you're such a beast. Such a beast, Caster. Doxel asking, Dutch, what are you drinking? Patron. That's all I ever drink. Not really. Don't drink while you're playing poker. I'm drinking coffee. Coffee, cream, and sugar. Seattle's best, number 4. Homebrewed. Okay, Smash says, if you ask a question, how long does it take for an answer? Ah, meta question. A question about a question. So Sean is right. It takes about 4 minutes. So Baltimore Poker saying, Bovada, you can easily lose 800 plus a night. Trust me on this. All MTTs. So $800 a night you can lose on Bovada if you play all the MTTs and don't cash. But how much can you lose in the cash games, Baltimore Poker? You know, one thing is, this is what happened with poker. Back when I first started, it was all limit hold'em. All the cash games were limit hold'em. All the tournaments were limit hold'em. And generally, with limit hold'em, the big fish and the big whales, it takes a long time to bust them. The biggest game in the casino would be like a 20-40 limit hold'em game, and you'd get a couple of guys who are retired millionaires who are just fine sitting down and losing, and sometimes they'll win, maybe 30% of their sessions, maybe 20% of their sessions, but most of the time they're going home a loser, and they'll drop $1,000 over and over every night. Sometimes you'd have people on weekends will drop $2,000 every single night, and it was just like you'd go and you collect the money. And then what happened was Moneymaker wins. Wow, Dylan's dad with 229,000. How did that happen? What did we miss, Dylan's dad, where you are sitting here with 229,000? You got moved. We were playing with you for a second, and then all of a sudden you're right back in it. I'd love it if you'd call this, Dylan's dad. What's another 15,000 to you? Make the call. And he does with the King 10. Why not? King 9 offsuit would have actually hit, but Isildur making the shove, thinking he's got some fold equity with those pocket twos. I don't think you have fold equity there, my friend. Not when a guy has 250,000 in front of him. Nice hand there, Dylan's dad. Making the fold. And where does that put us now? So we're at 15, 16, 17 bigs. Paco Boy 15 says, why not check back on the 10-7-8 flop with the ace-8? Good question, Paco Boy. The reason we're not checking back is because we are c-betting every time we are in a heads-up position with the pre-flop aggression. Sometimes when we're live, we will mix it up a little bit, but I don't want them to start thinking, oh, well, anytime he hits the flop a little bit, he checks back. Why would we want to do that? Why would we want to give a hand like King Jack the opportunity to wow, look at Card Doctor firing out 2,400. Little min donk lead, Card Doctor, really? We will raise and see what a donk lead means from you, Card Doctor. So for you, Card Doctor 1924, a donk lead means you are going to fold. Donk led, 2 big blinds into a jack. What was that? Jack 4-2 board. Is that what we were looking at? Jack 8-2. Making the fold. So that at 600, 1,200, defended in big blind, and then donk led 2 big blinds into a jack 8-2 board, only to fold to a half pot raise from me. Good to know. Huh. Nice run out there, Miggy 24. And how much did Arwen make that pre-flop? 5,000. So a little over 4x there. PokerStud5 saying, "Hey Dutch, can you talk about Blue Shark optics and your opinion of them versus regular sunglasses, pros and if any cons?" PokerStud5, yeah. So there are some cons. I'll talk about the pros first. They let in a lot of light. Okay, so if you ever have any issues where, and you're going to have issues if you try to wear sunglasses at the poker table, looking down at your cards is going to cause a little bit of eye strain. You're inside. You don't really need sunglasses at the poker table except to shield your eyes. So the Blue Shark optics shields your eyes, in my opinion, better than most sunglasses do. The mirror coating on the front really keeps all of the light, reflecting back at your opponents. So you don't really have to worry about them seeing through your sunglasses. A lot of people wear sunglasses at the table, and then you can end up just seeing through it anyway because it doesn't have the mirror finish that they really need. So the Blue Shark optics are really good at keeping you from leaking information to your opponents about things like blink frequency, gaze direction, pupil dilation. I don't really know any pros who can really pick up on pupil dilation. I can't see that close into someone's pupils, but you can see, a little widening of eyes. You can see that. You can see definitely, you can definitely see eyebrow movements, and gaze direction is a huge part of picking up on tells. Blink frequency is a huge part of picking up on tells. If you can't read somebody, then kind of the go-to things to try to focus on are blink frequency and breathing, because I would also say pulse, but those are just things that are really hard to control. So yeah, they have a really nice mirror finish. They let in a lot of light, so there's not a lot of eye strain when you're actually trying to make out, and your eye doesn't really have to work that much to see the cards. There are some problems with it. They don't have a very good back coating. They really need a better anti-reflective back coating, because what ends up happening is if you're not wearing like a billed hat or a hoodie where then you get light bouncing off of your face on the back side of the sunglasses, and you end up with a reflection of yourself staring at yourself, and it's really irritating. It's really annoying, and it actually causes the kind of eye strain that regular sunglasses cause. I actually think that Blue Shark optics without a hat, I would probably, honestly, even though I'm part of the Blue Shark optics team, and I shouldn't even say this, I would probably, if I wasn't going to wear a hat, I would probably just wear regular sunglasses. They really need to get something done with that reflective problem. But what can you do? You wear a hat, you wear a billed hat, which is better anyway. Wear some sort of protection over your head like this. Keeps the light from bouncing off and back, and so you don't see your own eyes staring at yourself. It also makes it conceals the kind of leakage with forehead lines and eyebrow movements. So I think if you're going to wear sunglasses at the poker table, and most of the time I think that if you're playing with good poker players, I mean, there's definitely some situations where I think it's kind of uncalled for. You're going to go play 1-2 no limit down the strip. You don't need to be putting on your armor, But if you're going to be playing the World Series of Poker with people who make their living out of looking at poker players and deciphering what an increased blink frequency means, then you're probably going to want to put on your Blue Sharks. It's nice to have them as an option, and there's definitely been times when I've seen my friends at tables at the World Series of Poker. There was one in particular where it was a few years ago. I don't want to say who it was. Real good friend of mine, though. He was he ended up going heads up against Phil Ivey, and at the time he had some real strong blink frequency tells. I really just wanted to yell at him. I would be like, put these on, because Ivy owned him. Every single time he was weak, Ivy raised him off of his hand. Every single time he was strong, Ivy didn't give him a dime. Why? Because Ivy just didn't. I mean, he just looked at him, and increased blink frequency for him meant weakness. Okay. So it was. There's going to be some times when you're going to want to have the option of putting on the sunglasses. I think on a fundamental level, in the game that they were playing, my friend was actually better. But if you have a very strong correlation on a physical tell, and your head's up against an opponent, he's done. He's done. When I won my second bracelet in 2010, it was a limit hold'em event against a guy named Brian Menders, who ended up winning a bracelet the very next year. He's an amazing player. Fundamentals are very good, very strong, stronger than mine. When it comes down, like if we were playing online, he is going to have such an edge on me. When we were live, though, he had such a strong, a strong physical tell that I could correlate to strength or weakness. And it was a pre-flop tell, and he didn't wait to look at his hole cards until it was his turn to act. He had me, I think, 4-1 when we got heads up. He didn't have a chance. He didn't have a chance, because it was like, okay, he's weak pre-flop, I will raise him. He's strong pre-flop, I won't, and I will play this very, very passively, maybe not even calling his raise. So yeah. That's all I got to say about Blue Shark Optics. If you're going to buy them, use code Dutch to get a little percentage off. Baltimore Poker, I'm going to give your Twitch a follow. Look forward to checking it out. So, Sean, nice job, man. It's very hard to stay calm. So the deeper you get, the more, the harder it is. Goal 34 Eyes saying, I wear sunglasses at the table so I can look wherever I want, and I make a lot of eye movements when I'm in a hand. There's something to that, too. Besides just preventing your own leakage, you also get the opportunity to go ahead and stare down opponents and not have them know you're staring them down. So there's some benefit to that. Yeah, Dylan's judge just keeps on getting bigger and bigger. Look away for 1 second. He just pulls in a 327,000 pot. It's amazing. Just moving it up, moving it up. 315,000. He had 250,000. It's amazing how much money he has in front of him. I mean, we're down to almost 2 tables now. Second place doesn't even have 100,000 in front of him. Dylan's dad has more than 4 times the next guy. And here he goes, just crushing Castor. Castor. Getting it in there for 105,000, which would be second place, you guys. Second place money. With Ace Queen, Dylan's dad just snap calls him with the King 7 suited. Rob, aka Wake, says, do people fold more or less on online? Do bluffs get through more often or less often online? That's a good question. And I don't know that there's really been much of a study done on it. I would think that people call more often live than they do online. It's because it's more personal live. If someone bets into you on the river, it feels like they're doing something to you live. It feels personal live. You have to actually look at somebody. I would suspect that means that there's probably more bluffs online, and they probably get through more often online. But I don't know. I don't think there's ever really been a. Like any sort of formal study on that. So Butters said on his stream he didn't believe in live tells at all, and they made the deep main event run this summer. I don't think that that's true. I don't think Butters can say, "Oh, I don't believe in poker tells." Surely not. I mean, you have to believe in tells. It's pretty clear that they exist. Okay, so we make the defense in the big blind. Maybe we should just try to move Miggy 24 off of something. And Miggy24 saying, not today, Dutch. Not today. I am going to call you down with whatever stupid shit I have. Nice hand there, Miggy24. If he shows like pocket sixes without a diamond, like a diamond, I'm gonna just be so disgusted. Nilesy, good question, talking about how do you correlate a tell? Regarding live reading of poker tells, how do you set the control for a tell? You pretty much have to wait until they actually expose a hand. So I don't think that we're ever getting through Dylan's dad here. 19 out of 20. I think he is just always calling. I think that if we call, try to see a cheap flop, I don't think that he lets us. So we're 19 out of 19, guys, with 6 big blinds. Come on, Arwin. How can you make the fold here, getting 2-1 against fade to black? So he does. He makes a 3x pre-flop and folds to a shove by fade to black, getting 2-1 on the call. If it goes fold, fold, this is going to be a shove. And I hope that we get through Dylan's dad. If someone calls us, though, I mean, if any of these guys call us, I guess I would prefer it to be Dylan's dad who calls us rather than, you know, like Fade to Black or JT Hollywood, who would figure to be actually having a legit hand. Okay, final 2 tables. Look at this. We got Adam Vogel, Adam V, friend of the stream. Great to see you, man. Always a pleasure to make it deep with you. 10-8 suited for 8 big blinds. Is it a shove? Could be. Okay, we'll make the fold here, guys. Hey, you know, I don't think I've asked you guys for much in the last 30 minutes, but I'm going to ask you something. I'm going to ask you, if you haven't clicked on that follow button, a little heart icon right underneath the video, maybe you could just go ahead and do it. Click on that little button. We're going to be doing a lot of streaming this week, pretty much every day this week. Not pretty much. Every day this week we're going to be streaming. So make sure to click on that follow button, get notified when we go live, or don't get notified. It helps us if you follow, though. It helps us if you follow. It doesn't cost you anything. It takes a little bit of time. You have to go like that. That's how much time it takes. You know, like it takes more time for me to like demonstrate how much time it takes than it actually takes to follow. So if you're not following the stream, but you are here watching the stream, like why aren't you following it? Maybe the answer is because you're watching it on your mobile device and you don't. It's not easy to follow from a mobile device. Maybe it's because you're watching it on your TV or something. Just load up a browser, man. Just load up a browser. It doesn't cost you anything, and it helps out the stream. So why not? If it's worth your time to be here, help it keep on going. It doesn't cost you anything. Just we had a goal tonight, and we might make it. The goal is to not finish 6th and to have 9,250 follows. Okay, so this is probably going to do it for Lindley Lou. Dylan's dad making it 4x. I really don't think that Dylan's dad is weak here. He's definitely going to call. Oh, pretty weak. Gets it in there as a 3.5 to 1 dog and slides through. So Lindley Lou going out 17th, almost the stone cold bubble. We are hand for hand, guys. Kind of hate to see Lindley Lou get knocked out that way. Dylan's dad just continues to be on a tear, getting it in bad, and having his hand slide through with no problems. So, what do we got? 6 bigs on the stone cold bubble. Not really where we want to be, guys. I think that we are the lowest stack right now, 16 out of 16, so we pretty much just have to fold, fold, fold for the next 20 hands, 25 hands. Hope that one of these guys decides to make a little mistake. Even though we're 16 out of 16, I'm actually looking at the other table. I'm going to bring up the other table because there's 2 pretty small stacks at the other table. And if you notice, the guy who's slightly ahead of us, Diabetes, right here, actually isn't ahead of us. Because if you look, he actually has to hit his big blind before we have to hit ours. So even though it says we're 16 out of 16, we're actually 15 out of 16, and we're gonna be able to make this money bubble, especially if Dylan's dad does what he should and wields that huge stack like a bat. I mean, if ever there's a time to go ahead and put the pressure on these guys, it's right now, Dylan's dad. Let's go ahead and get back to our let's get back to our table. I almost feel like, I mean, we're not going to be playing a hand. We're just basically folding and folding until one of these guys gets knocked out. I hate doing that, But that's the situation we find ourselves in. That is the ICM decision to... I'm not playing for 15th. Feels like we are when we're sitting down, you know, when we're just folding and folding and folding down to 4 big blinds, 3 big blinds, if that's what it takes. Come on, Dylan's dad. Put some pressure on this dude. Wow. And Nutch winning not that big of a pot there with pocket queens. Make the fold. And if we look back over here at what's going on the other table, Diabetes just took the big blind. He's gonna have to take the small blind. Well done there, Adam Vogel. I think that Nutch missed an opportunity, guys. Really do. I think that gosh, I hate making this fold. I think if Nutch makes a ship there... Oh. 2 pair. You're probably not going to be able to get Adam off of 2 pair. It's a lot more likely, though, than if, you know, making that little baby bet. So something happened over here. Did we just get a money bubble burst? Yes, we did. Yes, we did. So that puts us in the money. It is going to be a cash. 14 out of 15. Now we'll watch these guys just go crazy. We were left with 4 big blinds. I don't think we necessarily have to call off here in the big blind, you guys, or the small blind. I think that we can probably go ahead and let a few more hands go before we really feel like we have to, you know, call off for our whole stack. But ace deuce offsuit, this is going to be a call. Oh wow, Dylan's dad decides to just go ahead and make a limp. Happy Mon also limping. Wow. And we get a free shot. Flop comes King 7-3. And Happy Mon getting it in there with oh man, yeah, Happy Mon, what an asshole this guy. You know what, I'm gonna just keep my mouth shut, and we're gonna go ahead and disable contact from that douchebag. You gotta hate a guy who is just, you know, who wins and then decides to needle a guy right after he wins. I mean, what the hell, man? He's just sitting there being a real douchebag for no reason that I can see. Ace 3 off. Do we have fold equity? No. We have the best hand, though. Maybe we can get Colleen K to fold. Wow, this is better. Colleen K makes it... Oh, jeez. Man, smack into that. Okay, guys. that's going to do it for us. What do we finish in here? 14th place. GG to you two, Adam Vogel. It was an honor just to compete. Guys, really appreciate you being here. I'm going to go ahead and shut the stream down. I actually think that maybe I'm going to do a little Hearthstone Arena run if any of you guys feel like sticking around for that. I'm shutting down the stream, popping it up with no delay, getting a little Hearthstone up and going. Thanks again for being here. We'll be back here in about 3 minutes. No delay. So if you want to see what's going on in the Hearthstone world, if you don't know even how to play that game, stick around. You know, Alex Dreyfus actually tweeted yesterday, the biggest competitor to poker online right now is Hearthstone. And then Daniel Negreanu replied to that tweet saying, as I read that tweet, guess what I'm doing? Ha 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 ha. Yeah, that's right. He was playing Hearthstone. So we're going to play some Hearthstone, no delay. I do like doing streams with no delay, so we'll be right back, guys.